everyone. It is June 4th, and this is your 5th episode of YEG Pivots. So excited to have you with us today. We've got a great show lined up and great businesses to showcase. So without further ado, we'll get started. I'm very excited to introduce you to a very exciting lineup of guests that we have today. So I will welcome our first guest. Just give me a second here. And we're going to go ahead and welcome Joshua Carter from Healing Connections. We'll give Joshua a second here to join us. Oh, dramatic. Just a chair. I like it. Joshua! Joshua, are you there? We'll just give him a second here. And it's crazy how time flies. I mean, it feels like just yesterday we were doing episode 4, and amazing that here we are a week later, and it feels like it just went by in the blink of an eye. Incredible. I'm going to give Joshua a chance to connect to his audio. And in the meantime, I will bring in a different guest. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and welcome Darka Tarnawsky. Darka, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
How are you doing?
Excellent. Excellent. Very much appreciate that you were able to make the time to be a part of the show. And we're very excited to hear about your experiences this year as a business owner, as a member of the Edmonton community, as a person in this world that's been changing daily, let's say at the very least. So for those who don't know much about Shumka, can you maybe give us a little bit of background and we'll go from there? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Shumka started in Edmonton 60 years ago.
Maybe give us a second, Darka. I can't. Is that you? Is that your background?
No.
Okay, give me a second here. Got it. Okay, carry on. Tell us about, yes, tell us about Shumka.
Yeah, so Shumka started in Edmonton 60 years ago. So this year is our 60th anniversary, and we had a number of celebrations planned, and we're looking at that in the future, moving things forward. It's a Ukrainian dance company. It's Canada's only professional Ukrainian dance company. We also have a school, the Shumka School of Dance, which has over 260 students.
Wow.
Yeah, from 3 years old to about 20. And then we also do seniors programming. So we have what we call seniors in Shumka. So they're like from 50 years old to I think 82 is the oldest participant we have, and a couple of adult ballet classes as well. Shumka has represented Canada around the world on various special occasions, has toured around the world, and is made up of dancers who are based in Edmonton. Most of them are also students or have jobs because they get paid for performances. So this is sort of like a little extra thing on the side. But the organization is really respected in Ukraine, amongst the Ukrainian dance world there. And we're just happy to be part of the Edmonton community as well.
Well, that's, I had no idea there was 260 students at your school. I mean, that is very impressive. And I guess that's a good lead into the next question. You know, how has this, pandemic impacted the lives of your 260 students? What kind of changes have you had to implement in the school? I mean, is it even open at this time? Tell us more about that.
As soon as the regular schools closed in March, we also closed down our school classes here. Normally on evenings and weekends, our studio is full of dancers from various ages. It suddenly got very quiet here. What we decided to do, because we weren't able to continue on with the regular in-studio classes, is create videos with their instructors. So the instructors created videos for each of their classes. And we put them online and gave them access, the students access to those so they could rehearse when it worked for them, because they're also trying to work in their regular online school studies, like their academic school studies. So we had online rehearsals. We provided some activities for them, like choreography contests, that they could submit videos to us and we judge them. We had craft activities for them. So just different things that they could do to stay connected to the organization and to keep up some of their dancing.
That's wonderful. And I think it's so important that you have been doing that, because really, I think one thing we've been hearing a lot of is people trying to combat that sense of isolation that comes with, having to stay at home or really avoiding the unnecessary travel. So very commendable that you've been able to kind of sustain that, because I'm sure with such a longstanding history that Shumka has, not just in the art and dance community, but I think culturally as well, this must have been very impactful at the beginning. So how quickly did you implement those changes, kind of pivoting over to doing the video lessons? That was a quick pivot then, if you already have that in place.
Well, it took about a week to 10 days to get all of the classes online, because there's 26 different classes. So we needed to bring instructors in who worked one or two at a time with a videographer. And so within a couple of weeks of having to cancel classes, we were able to get those videos online. It also affected, of course, our professional company of dancers. So we were in the middle of preparing for a big Canadian tour for our 60th anniversary, with that Edmonton premiere dates in April. So that kind of changed drastically as well. Our company of professional dancers are rehearsing 3 times a week still, but they do that via Zoom online. So there's about 50 of them, lots of little tiny squares on the screen, and they do ballet bar, they do other workouts, and they do actual rehearsals. So it's not exactly the same, but it's as close as we can get to keeping them active and working together.
That is heartwarming. Truly, it is. So, do you have some news or insights as to when things might look like they would be returning to a semblance of what it was? I mean, it's tough to say back to normal. I feel like that's far-fetched at this point. But what kind of insights have you been given in terms of reopening the facility, or are there some sort of adjustments that you can make to kind of accelerate that? Or
well, we actually are participating in a town hall with Dr. Hinshaw this afternoon.
Okay.
For people who run sports fields or arenas or dance studios. So we'll get a bit more information. The rumor is that we'll be moved from stage 3 possibly into stage 2, and because Edmonton is doing so well in terms of keeping our numbers relatively flat. So what we've started doing just in preparation for when we can get back into the studio is stocking up on PPE, making sure that we have things set up with our janitorial company to be able to come in here on a daily basis and wipe everything down. We've got the thermometer, the no-touch thermometer. We're working on waivers, working on how to cohort the groups. We have 4 studios here, and we have 50 people in the company, so we can only rehearse up to 15 people at a time, and they have to be socially distant. So it's going to be challenging, but we're working on that, working on things like getting floor decals done to show directional signage of which way you can move from studio to studio, so dancers aren't passing each other in the hallway, those kinds of things. So yeah, we're working on that. It's going to be different because dance involves touching, like there's dance together. There's partner work, they're holding hands. So for a while, we're not going to be able to do that. So we're going to have to adapt accordingly. We watch online some of the ballet companies in Europe who have already been able to start rehearsals again. They all wear masks during rehearsal. They have a relatively small number of dancers in each studio. They're not doing any couple work or any group work that where they would touch. If they're doing any performing, it's solo performances. So it's definitely challenging for dance. We'll just have to take it day by day. And, you know, we get little snippets of information every day that kind of helps us move towards that getting back to normal, as you say.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's just you listing off just a few of the small changes that you're addressing as you get this information. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the tremendous logistics that it sounds like you're orchestrating here, and applaud your efforts. You know, you mentioned you have seniors classes as well, so we know they're kind of a higher risk. So, and then you mentioned, you know, having to wear a mask potentially during your practice. From what I know, from what I've seen of your epic performances that are quite legendary, that's a strenuous endeavor. Like it's not just. I mean, I'm not saying ballet isn't, but Shumka in particular is known for some of those moves where you're like, that's cardio level expert, and to do that with a mask on, my goodness. So I feel for your dancers, but I also you know, I just want to highlight the tremendous positive attitude, and it's very you know, um, inspiring to see you guys overcome what could be seen as a tremendous obstacle to the performing arts in general. So like, wow.
Well, thank you. I mean, everybody's really been trying to be as positive as possible, like you say. I mean, it's important that we support each other through it. Our seniors, like you mentioned, we're not bringing them back into the studio for a while, but what we decided to do is do their classes online via Zoom as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first talked about it, I thought, I don't know, like there's going to be computer problems. But we did a little test, so they all learned how to use Zoom, and
Aw.
it worked really well. And they actually stay on after their 1 hour classes and just chat and kind of keep in touch. And so it's been, you know, good for them for fitness, but also just for some communication and keeping their friendships and all of that. So thank God for Zoom and all those kinds of programs.
Right. Anyone that bought stock in Zoom, they're laughing right now.
Yeah.
My goodness. But I think that's wonderful because social interaction is just so important for that mental health, right? And we've seen a lot come through the news where, you know, oftentimes we forget about our seniors. So first of all, I think it's wonderful that you have classes for seniors, that you're not ageist in the sense that what you're teaching is not limited to a certain, you know, there's no endpoint where you can learn to dance. I think that's beautiful. And I think it's great that they're finding kind of, you know, that community online and kind of helping them learn Zoom, and that's wonderful. So
yeah, it's been going pretty well actually. I mean, I guess our biggest question mark right now, besides when we can get back into the studio, is if we're going to be able to start our school and in what sort of capacity in the fall. We are hopeful that we can, but some classes are like 20 kids or so. So we have to find out what those protocols are going to be by AHS as we head into September. If we can have classes that size, or if we have to downsize and try to reschedule, etc. So that's one thing we're looking at. And the other thing actually that we're going to do this year that's a little bit different, we normally do summer camps. We have them in our studio and we have them overnight camps at Lake Wabman. This year we're not doing our overnight camps, of course, but we're going to do online camps in July for kids who maybe are immune compromised or their parents are a bit more nervous about them going out. And then we also have in-studio camps in August, but there'll be smaller groups of children. We've been following the AHS guidelines and doing, instead of doing a bunch of other activities like we would normally do, like they would dance and then go swimming, or dance and then go skating or something like that. We'll focus on dancing, a little bit of crafts, and just have lots of rules, and hopefully it'll all work out. And I think by then kids will be so used to the whole process of how to interact during COVID. And so I think it'll work well, and I think they're going to really enjoy sort of that stability of something that they always love to do.
Right.
To do.
And just getting back to some semblance of routine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to pour themselves into something other than just the limited activities I'm sure most children are constrained by, right? Staying
Yeah.
home. My goodness. Tell me, Darka, how can the community support you? So one of the things we strive to do with YEG Pivots is not only highlight and spotlight, those pivots that businesses have been having to make in order to survive, but also we want to take the opportunity to showcase and put the call out to our business community to support local, shop local. So how could our viewers support the Shumka school, dance school?
Well, this whole issue has been very difficult on us financially, just like any other business. We've had, not very much coming in terms of revenues. We are trying to keep our staff employed as well. So we're looking to the federal government subsidies, and we've been able to apply for some of those. But the sort of anomaly about Shumka is that we don't fit into the funding models for the federal government. So any extra emergency arts funding that is put out by Canada is not accessible to us. And then we also found out that we're not getting our Canada Summer Jobs grants that we normally get. So we've had a few blows that way, and it's been difficult. So we've appealed to our donors, our supporters, to donate to us at this time if they can. We're really, really keeping things as sort of lean and mean as we can do at this time, just to keep things going until we can get over these big humps. So we have a Facebook, we're on Facebook, Instagram, we're on Twitter, but we also have a website, shumka.com, that has an easy place to donate if people would like to, and we appreciate any amount. And if any businesses are out there and are interested in supporting things like our camps, we'd really appreciate that as well, because we have to have much smaller numbers of kids in the camps. And we have a lot more expenses in terms of things like PPE and,
ask you about that.
Adaptations that we have to make.
Yeah, that must come with a cost.
Yeah, then videotaping of all of the online classes. And so we've had some support from Edmonton Community Foundation, which has been really, really appreciated. But yeah, if there's any businesses out there who are interested in supporting us, our contact information is on our website. So
wonderful. And when you say support you, like as a business, aside from donations, is there like a sponsorship of certain classes? Is that one of the opportunities there?
We are definitely looking for sponsors for our camp classes. We still want to keep the registration fees reasonable. So if there are corporations or businesses out there who are interested in sponsoring any of our camps or the school, we definitely have lots of opportunities.
Wonderful. So as we like to do for all our guests, Darka will be posting the information, and we encourage you to send us any additional links you want us to share with the community. I can't thank you enough for making the time. I'm sure you have such a long list of things to do in order to be compliant, and I'm going to just put a little put a pin in it. I'd love to maybe have you back, and you can share some of the insights from that town hall today with Dr. Hinshaw. Sure, it'd be interesting to hear about what she has to say and kind of what the sentiments are out there, and what further insights you might be able to share with us based on attending it. So if that's all right with you, I might be bugging you for that in the future. I'm going to ask you to stick around. At the end of the show, we'll do a little group chat for the last few minutes, so please hang out. But thank you again so much. And for everyone watching, remember that's Shumka. Go to shumka.com and check out all the opportunities to support and there's a lot of opportunities for businesses to sponsor programs, and we'll be posting more information. So thank you again, Darka, and we'll see you at the end of the show.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. So our next guest is about to come on now. Let me just, there we go. We've got, we've got Joshua Carter's back. Let me see if we can get him to start his video. And we'll bring him on. Hello. Hello, Joshua. Can you hear me? Oh, I've got you on mute. 1 minute. All the power in my hands. So much power. How are you?
Hey, I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Joshua, you're with Healing Connections?
That's correct. Yeah, Healing Connections Wellness Center.
Wonderful. Tell us a little bit more about the history of your business and what it is that you offer.
Boy, well, our history is going back about 13 years now. We are in the North Edge Business District, of course, district by design on 115th Street, just north of 105th Avenue. Like I said, we've been here for 13 years. We're a multidisciplinary wellness center. So we offer services ranging from massage therapy, acupuncture, Bowen therapy, craniosacral therapy, Reiki, and other energy work, as well as I'm actually upstairs in our workshop space right now. We have a studio where we offer yoga classes, different kinds of trainings, everything from birthing prep workshops to healing circles and that kind of thing. So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Joshua, you guys are bursting with offerings. That's amazing. And all around health. I love that, health and wellness.
Yeah.
Before I forget, I absolutely love the mural behind you. Beautiful. Is that hand painted?
Well, hand airbrushed, yes.
Okay, well, I'll take it. That's beautiful. Now tell us a little bit about how this, COVID situation has impacted your business. And before you answer, give me 1 quick second, because I think we have a participant not on mute. So I'm just going to make sure that you're not cut off there. And so good. And then I will also just give me 1 quick second. I want to make sure my dog is not. 1 second. Can you just let him in so he's not? Thank you. I thought I muted myself, but everyone heard me say yes. Letting the dog in. It's just like making a little sound in the background. I just feel bad, the little yelping. So it'll be fine. Anyway, tell us everything.
Sorry, can you just repeat the question? What was
Absolutely.
it?
So when this all started, tell us about how it impacted you, and then we'll kind of go into the changes you've had to make to adapt to obviously a changing world.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it was sudden, like with everyone. I remember the exact weekend that it was, hourly, the information was changing.
Yes.
Basically, it was that weekend of March 15th. And by the end of that weekend, places were already beginning to close. We were in this limbo place, of course, of making that decision ourselves. I worked for about another week until it was officially declared that, businesses needed to shut down. And it was very difficult. A week of not working and not seeing our clients was already a lot, let alone, what are we at now? I can't remember, 70
months.
days. Yeah, exactly. So it's been a long time. So as you can imagine, we're sort of for some people, some of our clients, we're the front line of self-care. We offer, a lot of what we offer is very important for a lot of our clients' mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. And so, and we're very passionate about what we do. We love working with people. So it was painful to not be able to, because they're suffering. So we, obviously had to make the decision, shut our doors and take a forced hiatus, which, we all struggled with, and then, you know, you slowly get into a routine, I guess, or figure out a new routine, or make choices to support, you know, we had to make choices to support our own mental health and well-being during this shutdown. And I went out into nature. That was my solution. So
and great solution. I think, I mean, actually, I got to be careful what I say, because I think nature's so healing, and yet I know many are struggling with the fact that our options for enjoying nature are limited. And so, speaking of, you know, that healing aspect, and I think you mentioned it when you say, you know, the work that your team and you do touches on all points of health, right? Not just physical, but mental, spiritual, emotional. So, you know, what happened to your clients? How have you adapted so that you're still able, are you able to continue serving them? Because I imagine so many of them are also feeling isolated, you know, limited social interaction, and that kind of snowballs. And, you know, now their treatment, their healing connection center was closed. How did you guys overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there wasn't very much we could do. Again, being with them, a lot of our work is body centric, and it involves physical contact. So that was just a no-go.
No.
So we do have a small retail therapy section here, and so we do offer some self-care products and that kind of thing. And we tried to keep that open, and did a lot of curbside retail, you know, sales. We definitely kept our social media active in terms of messaging, positive messaging, encouragement, you know, honesty, self-reflection. That was really the extent of what we were able to do. We encourage a little bit of online. Some people do some online energy work, sort of spiritual coaching type stuff that could be available, but it's really not the same doing it online.
I was gonna ask, because I don't think I've heard of much, like, would Reiki be something that you could do virtually?
You can.
Like, that energy still kind of transcends through the digital?
When we're talking energy, there is no time and space, and so absolutely you can do distance healing is very common amongst energy work, and so some people say it's even more effective because we're not caught up in this linear measurement of time and reaction and that kind of thing. Anyway, I could talk about that forever, but
talk about it. No, I think that's, I mean, if there's ever a time that it's more pertinent to know a little bit more about that, I think now would be the time. I mean, we're facing a future where people are starting to you know, find ways to incorporate digital mediums of delivering their products and services, increasingly so as time passes, and we're still seeing limitations on that physical side. So
yeah.
I mean, I think tell the viewers that they can still get some of your, you know, your healing and energy work remotely. I think that's imperative.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Actually, that's great. That's awesome. Not something I get to share too often. It's a bit of a different concept for some people to understand, but it's absolutely true. Things like energy work, I mean, obviously people are still doing like yoga classes online. Meditation is another option. Those can all be done remotely. It's absolutely true. Guided meditation is a good one where you know, you're literally, regardless of where you are, you're literally lying there in a relaxed state with your eyes closed and being guided by a facilitator who can lead your consciousness on a bit of a journey. And using your imagination, you're actually able to energetically shift belief systems and barriers, you know, release emotional blockages. And again, just, to reiterate, the illusion of time and space when we're talking about that kind of work is irrelevant, and can actually be more effective because of like I said, you're not attached to the outcome as much. So those are absolutely options. I've been, I didn't really get into that myself. I do also energy work, and I host meditations in the past in person, and I considered doing it But I personally struggled with this online forum. So it's still something that I'd love to adapt to and get more accustomed to. I would love to continue to offer the work, because obviously that's the most important thing. Like you said, if we have to adapt to a world of online interaction and physical distancing, then I'm not just going to stop. I'll
Good.
have to find a way to continue to offer what we do and connect.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that. Not the part that we might not be looking at a returning to the normalcy of physical touch, but I'm happy to hear that you would be continuing your work. What we're facing right now, whether it's moderate or severe or changing depending on which country or region, at the end of it all, it's still regarding health. And I think that what you're doing is addressing, and from the limited knowledge I have of energy work, but you're removing kind of these blockages that could be putting people in more of they're more at risk when they're carrying around this, energy weight, if you will. It's compromising their immune systems even more so. So really, the work that you're doing is better equipping people to kind of combat whatever illness they may encounter if and or when they do. And so, being that this is clearly something that's top of mind every single day, every minute these days, I can't emphasize and salute the work that you do enough, because I think more people need to know about it, since we're every day kind of feeling like maybe things are a little bleak and dismal. So it's nice to hear that there's ways that we can proactively combat that feeling of isolation, kind of keep our mental health at its optimal state, and kind of I basically, for anyone watching, any of our viewers, really I encourage you to let's flood Joshua with calls on how can we get those blockages out, and how can we get to an optimal state of health, despite the fact that we're staying at home increased amounts, limiting our social interaction. It sounds like you have a remedy or somewhat of a therapy to combat the negative connotations of us taking this seriously.
Yeah, you're so right. And thanks again for bringing that attention to that, because you're right. This is kind of an opportune time to recognize the non-physical reality of our lived experience, and to really sit with that, and to learn techniques to deal with stress, minimizing the way that we react emotionally to stressors in our life. These are all things that we have a lot more power around, a lot more personal choice around, and it can just be, but we're not trained or taught in our society necessarily how to do that stuff. So it is important for people to maybe take classes or reach out and have a guide, a mentor, somebody to lead them on discovering how much strength, inner strength, and personal choice they actually have when it comes to dealing with stress and stuff. So we are here, and you can always contact us, our email, our website, and we are also, very big on, we're part of a larger community, not just in center, but in Edmonton. Healing Connections goes beyond just this geographical location. We really care about helping people, and so if that means steering our clients to another practitioner elsewhere who can better meet their needs, then that's what we'll do. We are flooded with calls, inquiries all the time about the most amazing issues, and it just brings us a lot of joy to be able to help people in any capacity. So
well, it's funny because when I first heard of Healing Connections, and I can't believe we're neighbors, and I haven't had the chance to pop in there. So as soon as it's okay to do so, I will be. But I remember you were referred to as a hub for natural healing. And so if you haven't, expressed that clearly enough, I want to reiterate it, because that's definitely how you're revered in the healing community, as a hub, kind of a connector, the hub, and then you've got your spokes that are offering kind of more specialties. But it sounds like you just mean, 13 years, and was it 13 you said, Joshua? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely enough time to amass, those connections and create that network where and it's such a positive industry, if you will, that I'm sure you're all helping each other and kind of working together. So now on that note, Joshua, when are you going to be able to open up? Have you heard?
We have heard rumors, and I mean, pretty consistent rumors have been put out that so massage therapy is sort of the baseline of our practice here. Actually, backing up, we've actually reopened.
Okay.
Only for our acupuncture clients that have medical issues that are emergent.
Okay.
So we were allowed to open this week, actually. And our acupuncturist, Rachel Yeep, has now come back and we had our first client come back since shutdown on Tuesday. So that was amazing. It was a beautiful, like, soft reopening. And we got to, have our first person walk through the door and go through the experience of following the new protocols and using our PPE. And, of course, we spent the last week setting up all our protocols, reorganizing the space. We had to redo our lobby to remove all soft cloth furniture, remove all, items that could be handled, minimizing any kind of contact with stuff. Clean the entire space, set up our hand sanitizing stations. Anyway, we put a bunch of work into the place so that we could reopen this week. But again, only for acupuncture clients that have emergency medical issues right now. The next phase 2, includes massage therapy, which we've heard will be no earlier than June 19th. But maybe earlier. Now I've heard possibly even as early as June 12th. It really depends on the success of phase 1. So the government is obviously just monitoring the new emerging cases, and but we're really hoping that come June 19th, somewhere around summer solstice, we're going to be able to start having our clients come in. Yeah.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of clients with, this from work. I'm getting I look like that little character off Peanuts. I've been on my laptop so much, it's just sometimes when people are working from home, what we've been hearing is, it's tough to separate. You're not going to take a break because you're already kind of at home.
Yeah,
So
you're in your pajamas.
Right. And then you just all of a sudden it's 7 and you've been working, 6 hours straight and taking a break, and it's the same position. And so, I know I'm just talking ergonomics here rather the lack of on my chair.
No, that is huge. That's huge. And it's like a major thing. That's it's a phenomenon of the modern world that we live in. Human beings used to be much more upright and active. Jobs were a lot more physical. Majority of us do sit at desks in front of computers now. And so just correcting that forward posture is like, everybody has that issue. It's wild. And so people already struggled in the past, in the previous paradigm, they used to struggle with self-care and correcting their posture, and ergonomics, as you said, has become more of a hot topic. But so imagine now when people don't have the yoga classes they can go to, and the massage therapists that they usually go to help prevent the collapse, as you said. So that's very important.
I'm looking forward. So we're all going to be fingers crossed for June 19th, Joshua, so that we can we'll share some contact information for viewers who may be interested in some, if you're available. In terms of offering it digitally, any energy work in the interim. And so, what do you, assuming everything opens up on the 19th, then you're good to go, and then in the interim, we can ask viewers to support you by reaching out for you mentioned you have some retail products?
Yeah,
Sage.
We do.
You have Sage? Because we all need to be burning Sage right now. Like everybody.
Yes, totally agreed. Yes. Yeah, we offer Sage. We have different smudges that are for sale. We are doing some curbside pickups. We have things like magnesium salts for bathing, which is really great for the physical body, really helps you eliminate toxins. We have everything. We're also trying to support local, so we have some really beautiful, natural, local made candles by Crystal Ash. We have some lovely Northern Naturals soaps and deodorants that are made here in Edmonton.
Wow.
We have a handful of things, and I agree, smudging right now would be huge. I actually recently, just before shutdown, I had written up a very easy one-page how to smudge document that I've been doling out now, just to give people a real quick synopsis on how to smudge properly, and that it's really accessible to all people, and just take the mysticism or the complexity out of it, and hopefully simplify it, because it is a very effective self-care tool. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Joshua. We so appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do a little group chat at the end of the show, so I'll ask you to please stick around. I'm going to welcome our next guest, but last question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are these items available on your website? Is that where someone can?
They're listed on our website, and but you'd need to call us or email us for to set up a purchase, and we're happy to do that. So our webpage is healing-connections.ca. That's our homepage, so you can find all of our contact information there.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Joshua.
Thank you so much.
I will hide your video, but you just stick around, and we'll welcome you back shortly. Our next guest is Chris Lehrol, and Chris is with Honest Dumplings. Oh, Chris, can you hear me? Chris, hello. Hello, Chris. Oh, Chris is connecting to audio. We'll give him a second. There it is. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Awesome. So, Chris, you're with Honest Dumplings. For those who haven't heard of Honest Dumplings, which there might be maybe one or two, but I think tell us about your company, please.
Yeah. So actually, Honest Dumplings now is kind of evolved quite a bit, and it's all under the umbrella of Uproot Food Collective. And so,
excellent.
Yeah, so Uproot Food Collective is a business accelerator, food business accelerator that helps take local kind of emerging food brands national. And
incredible.
Yeah, and so we have two core brands. We have Honest Dumplings and South Island Pies now as well. So a lot of people have heard of the South Island Pie Code, the New Zealand style meat pies, as well as our Honest Dumplings, which are kind of gourmet, all natural Chinese style dumplings with creative flavors. And we started in the farmers market about 6 years ago, my wife and I, and kind of couldn't find wanted to really scale and grow the business, and looked at what's the best path to do that, and quickly realized that all the barriers and challenges and problems that a food manufacturer faces was kind of common to the industry. And so I was working at Tech Edmonton, a technology accelerator at the time, and started to wonder why there wasn't the same type of thing for a food business, and that kind of led us down this path. Wow,
that's amazing. So now tell us, how long has this been? That was how many years ago that you guys discovered that kind of gap?
Yeah, so about six, like kind of right when we started. It was maybe the first kind of year in the farmers market. We knew nothing about the food industry. We both kind of U-turned from our career. My wife was in law, and I was in had my MBA in technology and engineering kind of type thing. And so we knew nothing of the food industry, and just jumped in and started figuring it out. And it was pretty quick in that we realized that we had a hit on our hand, and we started selling out everything we could make from kind of day one. And then it just became a constant battle of how do we scale, how do we grow this, how do we make it bigger, and met some amazing business partners and all of that, and Jamie Scott from South Island Pie and Alan E at Tech Edmonton, and decided that, hey, maybe working together is a better way to do this. And we ended up partnering on kind of developing the business and growing it. And next thing you know, we we merged the companies and formed Uproot, and how it all came about. And
that's exciting.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, and you know what, it's a pretty interesting kind of model, and there's a lot of need for this. Like we know, like as a kind of a small local food company, it's pretty challenging, and it's really tough to get to profitability, and really the food industry is all about volume, because with kind of the grocery game, it's low margin and all, and grocers take their piece as well as distributors and all of that. So you got to really do a lot of volume to be able to get there. So everything we've been creating and working for is about kind of how do we scale and grow and take these amazing products with amazing stories and get them national. One of the companies we're working with, NKD Chocolates, Natural Kitchen Delights. So they produce in our space and sell through our store, and we're right now rapidly kind of helping them get a lot bigger in the grocery game as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear that you're essentially helping local businesses in the food industry, very highly competitive industry, and just kind of taking them national. So like, that's awesome. You're helping put Edmonton on the map for very delicious things. I mean, you had me at chocolate or dumplings, I don't know, or the pies. I mean, really all of them. But
they all go well together for sure. So
that's great. So now, so this is what you do now. Uproot. So Uproot is fairly new. I'm your neighbor. So hi. I saw the sign go up just recently, really, the new branding. But in the midst of all that's been happening, how have you guys had to adapt?
Yeah, so we kind of started developing this space. Like we secured it about a couple years ago, and really finished the bulk of the development back in June last year, and had been preparing and growing everything and getting all the systems and processes and HACCP food safety programs and all of that kind of stuff, and got our federal certification and all that stuff, gearing up to land some major grocery clients. And so we've been a true kind of growth startup where we're losing money in terms of that we're investing in the growth and putting in those systems so that we could scale. And we just passed our HACCP food safety audit, which is a qualification to sell into with a product like ours into the like Sobeys and Safeway and the likes of those major grocers. And we passed it, kind of got the approvals, and then COVID happened. And it was pretty scary because we had spent most of our money and reinvested it into what we were developing. So we were pretty nervous and scared about things.
No doubt.
We actually have a different story than many, and it turned into something pretty amazing. So we had actually, with Uproot, like didn't even have the sign before COVID and all of that, and we'd been planning a store and soft launched it, had maybe like two or three other local food companies in our store, and we quickly were able to build a web platform and online store in about a 24 to 48 hour period, and did a quick pivot right as things were locking down. And we saw 100% to 200% growth week over week for about 4 weeks.
Wow.
To the point that our business overall, including all sales and retail and all the stores that we're in, which we're in about 100 stores right now between the pies and dumplings, that we actually, the online store became twice as big as our core business. And
unreal.
We went from having 2 or 3 vendors to now we have, I think, 35 or 36 different Alberta food companies in our retail store. And we had maybe like 50, 60 SKUs in March to now, or in early March to now having, I think, like well over 300-400 SKUs in our store.
What?
And and it's been a wild ride. Like we were short staffed, and I ended up coming in here like 7 days a week, and we were deemed essential service as we were doing grocery delivery as well as we're a food manufacturer. We didn't have to make too much changes inside because we have the HACCP food safety program, and we're already kind of a very high level of like sanitation and all of those procedures. But obviously with people coming in and out and shipping, receiving, all of that had to tighten down, and people were sick, we had to send them home, and all of that. And but we actually saw the company like go through rapid growth in all of this, and we're able to kind of capitalize on the fact that consumers and people are looking for more delivery at home.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that we've actually, not only with our own revenue and our own growth, but we've been able to generate actually tens of thousands of dollars for other local food manufacturers. So we in all of this, we paid out, I think, probably 30-40 grand in money to other food companies being able to resell their products.
That is amazing, Chris.
Yeah,
don't even continue. Let's just let that soak in, because here we've got a local company. You guys had just turned around and put literally, and sorry for the punny example, but all your eggs in one basket, and then COVID hits. You're not sure, what's happening, and then what a feel-good story. It actually turns around, because now people can't go to restaurants. We're trying to shop local. We're seeing, kind of this divide between, we have to kind of keep our dollars in our local economy, and you essentially, with your team, of course, facilitated these other startups to be able to successfully kind of maneuver through these most trying times. Like, holy crap, man, that's awesome. That is I want to celebrate that. Like, that is and this is why I love this show, because I don't think we're hearing enough of these stories. And I won't slight as to the why we're not, but I'm just glad that we have this platform where we can share these feel good hometown stories of success despite all the stuff that's going on. Like, well done, man.
It's
awesome.
it's pretty amazing. It's pretty unreal, like the experience, because like obviously there's mixed emotion, and you see what's going on elsewhere and all the businesses that are struggling and having those challenges. And we had really built for capacity and for growth, and we're able to jump on it and get that and have the pivot that worked. And not every business is that same way, but we definitely feel very fortunate, and we're excited that we are able to not only do it for ourselves but other companies. And even like someone like NKD Chocolates, like they lost all of their spring shows and markets and all of that. Yeah. And we actually did pretty decent sales with them, and then we were able to hire their whole team in and keep them working and keep them employed and be a part of all of what we were doing. So there's some definitely some amazing, like it feels pretty amazing that we were able to do what we did. And we've actually hired about, like, we almost doubled our team in the last 3 months. And now we have the go ahead for Sobeys and Safeway again. And so we're now gearing up for the growth that we had actually intended for. We're pretty excited about the future, and our online store and actually the in-store too with pickups is phenomenal. And it's pretty exciting because there's, like I said, I think it's 35 different local food companies all available in one. So it's almost like that farmer's market kind of experience, but people can do it in a one-stop shop, and it's open 7 days a week and convenient that way. So
that is amazing. I just love hearing that story. And I think, I don't know, my favorite part is how you hauled all these other local food producers with you. And I don't know, that's one heck of a great startup story for Uproot. And if this is if this is how you're starting, I'm super excited to see you guys flourish and continue to grow. As things ideally, hopefully, fingers crossed, get better in all regards for our local economy and the country and the world and whatever. I digress, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's awesome. So now, I know you've mentioned the online store. Is that the only way for people to purchase with the curbside pickup, so they go online? Just so our viewers know how to support.
Yeah.
I want everyone to go and buy their dinner tonight from Uproot, and then shop local. Eat healthy.
You bet. And like the food, the quality of the food and everything we have is phenomenal, and there's amazing stuff for like all meals or snacks or anything. And you can either do online, so order online and do pickup or delivery. There's a delivery fee if you're doing that. And actually, we expanded to be Calgary, Fort McMurray, Lethbridge, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Edmonton. So we've actually helped a lot of local companies get well beyond Edmonton now as well with their distribution. But so you can do online for delivery or pickup, or you can even come to the shop if you kind of know what you want and what you're looking for, and then get it there. We're not quite at the stage of letting everybody just come in and grab their own stuff now. We're letting them look around, but we want to pick the orders just as things get a little bit more more stable. But I'm sure as things open up, we'll do that a bit as well. You can also go to the farmers market, or if you're looking for honest dumplings or South Island pies, like we're pretty excited. Every week we're landing new Sobeys and Safeway stores. You can get them through Spud, Organic Box, Blush Lane, lots of places in Calgary, lots of other independent stores. So you can always just check out the website for where to get all of those products. Another interesting thing that we've been done as well, and as a result of kind of some of the government relief and the programs, it actually has helped us on some of the financing side and getting some debt that we had been looking for. And we're able to pay out all of our AP and vendors that we owed money and all of that. And actually our ambition isn't just this facility. So we're kind of going to be hitting capacity here soon. So we've secured a lease for a 18,000 square foot facility south of Edmonton, and at the Edmonton International Airport. And it used to be a former flight kitchen. And so we're turning that into a full federally certified meat and dairy and any kind of food manufacturing facility. So we're actually in the process of raising investment and capital for that, and looking to really get aggressive and to really have that pathway for companies to go beyond Alberta.
That's amazing, Chris. Well done, man. I'm so happy to hear of your success, and we're definitely cheering you on to that next phase. We'll be sad to lose you from the North Edge. I'm not sure.
We won't be going anywhere. This is kind of the intake facility. So this facility is designed to get a company to their first 250 stores. So this will be here. We'll be here, and we'll be helping companies, like having new ones in here producing, and like while they test and validate in those like smaller number of stores before they go nationals.
Okay, awesome.
So we're not leaving the North Edge anytime.
Okay, good. Because I was going to be like, what?
I live in Central McDougall, so I like to live close to where I work as well. So
that's awesome. Yes. Well, Chris, thank you again for joining us. I'm going to actually go ahead and welcome in our other two guests, and we'll have like a little chat till it's 3:30. I'm not sure if you've met Darka or Joshua, but I'm assuming you were watching.
Yeah, you better.
So we'll just go ahead and get Joshua in here as well. And then what we like to do is as soon as we get Joshua in, we'll do like everyone smile, and then we're going to use that wherever we like. So everyone give me like a nice little group smile for being on the show. So awesome. Okay, we'll clip that later. And so this is exciting. I don't know, every show seems more, I don't know, I just get so excited every time we do a show, because I learned so much about the businesses in the area. And like Darka, I'm going to be calling you to see if we can sponsor a class. And Joshua, I want to see I'm going to buy some sage and get some digital Reiki treatments or something. And Chris, I don't know, I'm just going to put in a bunch of food orders. You're going to see me on the next episode like, I was shopping at Uproot, went a little too far. But I just think it's incredible. So anyway, feel free to, you guys can talk too.
I just wanted to say that, Chris, you're making me hungry. I better get some lunch. But anyway, this is really exciting to hear other voices from the community. Absolutely. It's a up and coming area, and I'm always amazed at what little gems there are around here. So
it's true.
Josh, I'm gonna have to tell our dancers about your place.
Please do.
We would love to get their aches and pains worked out.
Oh yeah. That's right. How wonderful.
Please, that would be awesome.
Congratulations, Chris, on your success.
Thank you. It's been a crazy ride, and like I said, it's mixed emotions because we know it's not the same for everyone. But we feel lucky and hope the best for both your guys' organizations, and that this all turns around really quick. So
Thank you.
I think the common theme here is how everyone's approaching it, and you know, just working with what we're able to get, just to kind of see us through this time, right? So
yeah, that's been our theme right now. The words resilience and adaptability are really important keywords for us to focus on, and to really be the, you know, leaders in that way with our clients, to say, you know, like that we may be still in a liminal space, in between uncomfortable space, but we're gonna, you know, move forward together and figure it out one step at a time, and get back to you know, just a healthier functionality in life. So
Agreed.
absolutely, well said, Joshua.
Yeah.
Well, folks, it's 3:30, so I'm going to wrap up the show. I want to thank our guests for joining us this week. Please, if you're watching, share the show with your friends. You can also find older episodes on YouTube. They will be tweeted out as well. And we hope we'll see you all as viewers on the next episodes. And everyone stay safe and shop local. Have a great week. Thank you again.
You
Thanks
too.
for having us.
thank you.